Game Boy Advance. Miracle. Magical. Sonical. Sonic is a superstar. Sonic Advance.
Yeah, I think we can all agree at this point that Japanese commercials are very weird. Sonic Advance, the game that kinda concluded the heated rivalry between Mario and Sonic, because before this game, in the days of the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, their relationship was a lot like. But after games like Super Mario 64 and Sonic Adventure, it kinda turned into something like. Oh no! So to avoid any further humiliation from this fat, spaghetti-loving plumber, Sonic called a truce with Mario, and after that, they became best friends. To commemorate to their friendship, Sega and Sonic team decided to make a Sonic game that will be exclusive to the Nintendo console. That game being Sonic Advance for the Nintendo Game Boy Advance systems. This game was a start to a new generation for Sonic, since Sega, at the time, was going from a first-party game developer to a third-party game developer. But for some reason, this game is not really talked about much in the Sonic community. Was it a bad game? Was it so painfully average that people just don't care about it? Why doesn't this game get as much attention as other Sonic games like Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic Mania, or even this monstrosity? Can we just forget this? That is what we are about to find out. In today's video, we are going to look through this game and determine if it is very underrated or is getting the right amount of attention that it deserves. To be honest, there's really not much to go over when it comes to the game's plot. It's kinda generic in my opinion. Dr. Eggman is at it again, and is plotting to create his ultimate Eggman empire by kidnapping your animal buddies and turning them into robotic minions, and also using the power of the 7 Chaos Emeralds to gain unimaginable power. It's up to Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy to join forces and
crack that Eggman wide open!
Alright, but interrupt my sentence like that ever again and we're gonna have some serious problems. But like I said earlier, there's not really much when it comes to plot in this game. It's pretty much just your typical.
With this invention, I can expand the Eggman Empire across the globe and conquer the world!
The boss means business this time.
Does he really? Well, shoot, I guess he did. This is easily one of the best parts of this game. From the 2D art style of the characters to the level themes, this game looks really good for an early Game Boy Advance title back in 2001. But one thing that is really good that I want to focus on when it comes to presentation is the game's music and the character sprites. Let's deal with the obvious real quick. The music. Sonic Advance has some good music, and of course it does, because it's a Sonic game and every single game within this franchise has good music. Oh wait. This game exists. Never mind then. But anyway, Sonic Advance has some very catchy music in my opinion, with some of my favorite tracks being this character select theme, Casino Paradise Act 2, or even the music that plays when you enter the player data menu, which, fun fact that you probably already know, so this is kind of a waste of time. It's a remix of Starlight Zone from the original Sonic the Hedgehog. But now let's move on to sprites, aka the best part of this game's presentation. I just personally love how expressive they are and how much detail is put into these sprites. I mean, just look at a picture of a sprite sheet for any of the characters and see how many times they had to redraw them just for one animation. Believe me or not, but this animation right here took 17 sprites to animate. 17. But all in all, I think presentation in this game is really good and is one of the aspects of this game that makes it stand out from other Sonic games. Now, onto the topic that most of y'all were waiting for. Sonic Advance is a 2D platformer game that takes a lot of inspiration from the classic Genesis games, but with some differences alongside it. As mentioned before, there are 4 playable characters: Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and new to the 2D Sonic games at the time, Amy Rose. Sonic, as expected, is your balanced normal mode character who still has his iconic spin dash, spin jump, and speed, perfect for people who just want the normal Sonic experience. Tails is the easy mode of this game, since he is very similar to Sonic, but having the ability to fly with his 2 tails for a short amount of time. Knuckles again is very identical to Sonic, but has the ability to climb on walls and glide through the air. Then there's the elephant in the room, Amy, who's kinda the worst character to play as for beginners. She does not have a spin jump, so jumping on enemies will only hurt you, nor does she have a roll. So the only way to destroy enemies or break open item capsules with Amy is to use her Pico Pico hammer with the attack button. I would consider Amy to be the expert mode, because despite her handicaps, once you learn about her moveset and how to execute those moves, she's pretty satisfying to play as. And then there's the special stages in this game, which is a lot like special stages from Sonic 2 where you have to collect a certain amount of rings to get the Chaos Emerald. But this time, for some odd reason, you're on a snowboard falling down a tube in outer space. But for Sonic newbies who don't understand the importance of the Chaos Emeralds, basically you gotta find the entrance to these special stages in each stage and collect all 7 of the Chaos Emeralds to truly beat the game. Or else, if you don't find all 7 Chaos Emeralds and beat the game, Dr. Eggman will just taunt you and tell you to try again. They can also be a necessity to completionists, since in games like this one, they can unlock a secret ending that you can only have access to with all 7 Chaos Emeralds. But all in all, I see no issues with this game, and I feel like it's a solid 2D Sonic game that any Sonic fan can enjoy. So, you played through every single stage, collected all 7 Chaos Emeralds, played with all 4 characters, and collected every single ring within each level. Wait, people don't do that. The question now is, what's next? Is there anything else to do? To answer your question, there is, but don't get your hopes up, because it's not much. First there's Time Trials, the mode where you go through stages and try to complete them in the least amount of time possible. But I really only use this mode to play through my favorite stages.
Then there's Versus mode, the multiplayer mode, which unfortunately I was unable to play because first of all, I'm not even using an actual Game Boy to play this game, I'm using an emulator. And then second of all, even if I was using an actual Game Boy Advance to play this game, I would need to buy this complicated trash and have someone else to play with. And I doubt any of my friends would agree to buying a whole Game Boy Advance and a copy of Sonic Advance just so I can review the multiplayer mode. So... And finally, we have Chow Garden, that thing Sonic fans are always begging Sega to bring back in future Sonic games. But this time,
it's tiny.
As expected though, this version of Chow Garden is way inferior to the Chow Gardens from Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, since you can't torture your chows, like come on, you all know that was the best part.
And that's pretty much it for extras. Unless you want to hear about options. Because if you go into sound test, you can see Amy dancing with the maracas, and that's pretty cool.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is Sonic Advance.
To answer my question from the beginning of this video, I feel like this game is very underrated because it's a solid 2D Sonic game that's very identical in some ways to the Genesis games, aka the golden age for Sonic. And this game led to other great 2D Sonic games like Sonic Advance 2 and 3 and the Sonic Rush duology years later. If you haven't played it already, I really recommend Sonic Advance. It's a really good game that I feel like Sonic fans will enjoy. Oh yeah, and Amy has a DDD move in this game. Because who knows, maybe some people out there actually care.